God bless you. Thank you, Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson, our awesome, powerful, prolific, always relevant man of God. With the word to say to Brother Jonathan Jackson, to each of you, our distinguished guests present, today is a day filled with a multitude of emotions and a flood of memories as we reflect on the life and times of our departed sister, Aretha Franklin. We are saddened by her departure without our permission. We've been greatly impacted because someone that we have embraced multitudes, masses, and millions from a distance. And yet our hearts have been touched in a place where nobody can put their finger on the pain. We are here also to remember the life of an individual who was not just gifted with vocal skills and melodic abilities and lyrical expertise. She was also passionate. She was also sensitive. She was also in tune, not just with her music and her peers, but she was also concerned about what impacted others other than herself. We lack many artists with the same social conscientiousness that Aretha had. During the days, Reverend Jackson reminded us, 11 city concert for free. That doesn't sound like anyone you know today. Straight up, no chaser. It's difficult to find people who are ready to risk a career, marketing, promotional opportunities to say what is on their mind and to speak what God would be pleased with, and that is the truth, without making a conscientious decision that because they buy my records, I can't say a thing about them that is critical. Aretha never had a problem. The other part of it was she didn't have a problem taking you to church, whether she was singing about a do-right man, do-right woman, natural woman, or Dr. Feelgood. She's going to take you to church on all of them. She was that kind of an individual. Her connection with church, her spiritual roots were the kind that she never was embarrassed by, shamed by, but she lifted it up and elevated a culture and an appreciation for the spiritual depth of a people that many people had not had before they heard Aretha Franklin. And so I think we have great reason to celebrate her life and her times today. While many of our lives have been lived with Aretha songs as our overarching and overriding soundtrack. And you can remember where you were when they play any song. You go, well, I know where I was when that song first come out. I know when they played that record the first time. And so a whole lot of us have a lot of memories that are also connected with the legacy of Aretha Franklin. Some of you know that was your prom year when that song came out. And that's all they played all night long, one of them Aretha records. I see some of you all because your hairstyle haven't changed either. Come on, stay with me. Just kidding. It's amazing, though, how music just intertwines with your life and your story and your history. And it allows you to recall moments that not even a hypnotist could jog unless you heard the soundtrack. Music is an amazing gift that God has given us, and one of the greatest melodic interpreters that this world has ever seen. It cannot be limited to a nation. It has to be global and universal, was Aretha Franklin. You agree with that? I met Aretha at the age of 17 on a really cold January night. I had been invited to come over to the New Bethel Baptist Church as I moved toward the sermon to speak for a youth day at the age of 17 on the fifth Sunday in January. I'll never forget, because Pastor C.L. Franklin was about to celebrate a birthday, and I was invited to come by his house the next evening. And of course, I called home and told my parents I had to stay over in Detroit because I was going to a birthday party for an iconic hero for those who fully appreciated the width and breadth of soul and substance in black preaching, Dr. C.L. Franklin. And so I got a chance that night to meet his daughter for the very first time when everybody heard that she was going to come by the party. It was no longer about the birthday boy. It was in anticipation of the new Columbia record star who was back home. And I remember we celebrated, and at the end of the night, for anybody familiar with Detroit at that time, of course, the hotel facilities were relegated to people by race. And I was staying at a hotel famous at that time called the Randora Hotel on John R. If you are a Detroiter, you know where that is. And stayed there, and Aretha volunteered to drop me off at the hotel that night at the Randora Hotel in a brand new white Corvair. I didn't say Corvette, it was a brand new Corvair. And there are about 5 people here who remember that car. And I'll never forget it. And that began our friendship, and it never ended. And what I love about life is that lives end, but love doesn't. And so that relationship began at 17, and in September I'll be 71. So that's quite a relationship. And so I thank and praise God for the opportunity, not to mention all of the things that Reverend Jackson and I shared with Aretha over the years, from the Gospel Crusade for AIDS in New York City at the Avery Fisher Hall, Lincoln Center, taking gospel and preaching to Broadway, an awesome opportunity, going so many places, doing so many things, the concerts, the revivals. And here we are today, looking back on the life of a true queen, a queen of music, a person who carried herself in a queenly way, regal, royal, always making sure that she represented the community from whence she came. And so we can always be proud that Aretha Franklin gave her best and her greatest. Listen, let's see how we can incorporate some reflections with some scriptural remembrances. Psalm 137 says this, verses 1 through 3. And let me read the older version in the King James. It says, well, let me just read this version. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down and wept. When we remembered Zion, there we hung up our harps on the trees. For our captives, they asked us for songs. And they said, sing us one of the songs of Zion. How can we sing the Lord's songs on foreign soil, we said. Let's talk a few minutes, if you don't have a problem, about what I'd just like to call without a song. Without a song. What brought me to this particular passage to aid us in reflecting on the life, the celebrated career, the legacy, the record breaking lifetime music achievements and accomplishments of Aretha Franklin. They baffle the normal person and they just astound her peers. Anyone to have had at minimum 100 Billboard certified hits, 18 Grammys, anyone who has done for the music industry what Aretha done continues to set high marks for others to aim for. And even if they don't reach the goals and the achievements of Aretha Franklin and the legacy of her music career and all of the manifestations of her upbringing in her lifestyle, they will still fall on high ground because she was out of this world. She was soaring in the galaxies in terms of achievement. Most artists are excited to get one Grammy in a lifetime and to speak about 18. Most people would love to have one hit on Billboard's charts, but to be certified 100 more than any female vocalist in the history of music, that puts you in a whole another realm. And you fully understand and you begin to appreciate why people referred to her as the queen. It was her achievements, her accomplishment, not just some conferred honorary title, while it was honorary in that her kingdom was musical and mental. But she reigned. And even now, when all of her subjects start to hear R-E-S-P-E-C-T, they bow. Because they know it is the coin of the realm, it is the currency of the queendom. To have to respond when you hear the voice of Aretha, a unique voice, an unbelievable voice. And even as age crept upon her frame, the lowering of her octaves and registers did not alter her creativity with her vocal abilities and skills. Because even as her register lowered, for those kinds of people who pay attention, she found new ways to shape the notes so nobody still could duplicate what she did. She was an artist. She was improvisational in her musical skills. She was unbelievable. She was one of a kind. She was unique. She was out of this world. She was incredible. She was like nobody else. She was Aretha. And then I thought, what if we had never heard her sing a song? What if our culture, what if our moments, our history, what if our times had been void of the voice of Aretha? What if we had had to live without the music and the melodies that flowed from her mouth? What if you had never had the animation and the motivation, the provocation of R-E-S-P-E-C-T to make you stand up for what others had fallen for? What if you had to live without a song from the mouth of Aretha Franklin? What if your archival memory, what if your personal chronology was void of any soundtrack? What if? How empty would you be now? How without musical appreciation might you be if you had never heard the voice of Aretha Franklin? Because we are people who are made for music. Music is an intellectual and international language that tends to seal the barriers between every level of category that separates people. Music eliminates it. It's international. Even when the audience is unable to interpret literally the lyrics, there's something about the syncopation of the beat that tends to resonate in your heart and in your anatomy that sometimes makes you get up and just want to dance. Is there something about, y'all still with me, right? Y'all are music people. It's amazing how we are so engaged in music and how Often our lives are made the better because of music. And singing is one of those distinguishing characters that just us and the birds have. No, we're the only creatures that appear to be able to formulate musical scores. We're the only people who can put together melodies and symphonies and songs and rhythmic instructions. We're the only ones who have been able to capture this limited library of notes and use it for a wide array of musical expression. Whether it's on an accordion or a harp or a piano or a trumpet, an A is just an A, but oh, how differently they sound and how they convey their messages to the hearts, the minds, the emotions, and the movements of men. Anybody just join me and thank God for music? What would life be if you never had a chance to tap your toe to a melody that resonates with your spirit? You can't explain why. There's something about music that's contagious and it's infectious. You can sometimes hear music that is not necessarily appealing to you on the first play, the second play, the third play. You don't even get it on the fourth. But then all of a sudden, after just replay, repetition, and redundancy, it becomes, that's my song. You start searching and surfing the radio stations, trying to find that song you didn't like when you first heard it, because it wove its way, it seems genetically, into the soul of your musical heart. And before you knew it, you had been infected and impacted by it like it was a lyrical virus that got into you and you couldn't do without it. You became addicted immediately to a score that you had never had, didn't compose, but all of a sudden you put your stamp on it. That's my song. You don't even know who's singing it, but it's your song. Without a song would be a dull and dismal habitation here on the planet if we did not have music. Thank God for music and for songs that help us to express our pain, our moods, our attitudes, our dispositions in relation to God, to country, to family. They help us to talk about our love, our nature, our war, our peace, our destiny. That's what music gives us, the ability to express ourselves without conflict or condemnation, but in compositions. Thank God for a song. Thank God for music, for every movement that has needed music. Thank God for scores of music. Thank God for minds that think music, dream music, eat music, and live music. So they give us the ability to celebrate. Sometimes we need the time to relieve our stress, and they give us different types of music with the same limited library of notes. It soothes the savage mind, heart, and soul, and even beast. Thank God for giving us music and giving us a song. And I thank him for giving us a songstress. Because if you got a song, you need a singer. Now, all of us like to think that we have the capacity to do solos. Some of us are okay to do solos in public, and some have been certified to do solos in the shower, and others are certified to be solo. Can't nobody hear you but you. But we can all do a solo. It's amazing how we have this awesome opportunity to reflect on the life of this sister who reminded us that music has a greater role in our lives than just entertainment. It also provokes us. It also stimulates us. It also instigates us. Music has the ability to do things that other speeches and orators sometimes cannot do, because music has found a way to be expressive with verbal limitations. It takes people like me, a long time to express my thought with words. But you can hear a song with 30, 35, or 40 words, or less sometimes. If it's like green Gucci suit, it's less words. So it's easy to remember a song because some songs only got one line, almost like the one I just mentioned. It's amazing how songs can express a message with such limited verbiage. And I know you wish preachers could do the same, but it just wasn't meant that way. Sorry. It's hard to get a sermon through drive-through. Hard to get an express meal sermon. Hard to find a helicopter preacher. And so you stuck with me for a few more minutes. I wanted to just have you reflect on music and its wide range of impacts and how it has generated you in ways when you were feeling depleted, how it helped to give you new energy and new life, a new focus, how many of your new lives have begun with new songs, how you decided all of a sudden that would be the anthem of your lifestyle because somebody wrote something that sounded just like you felt. I thank God for songs. I couldn't make it without a song. I need some music. Got to have some music. And thank God that music nor notes have religion. There are no sanctified A's and blues A's. There are no church C's and concert hall C's. It's all the same C. The only thing that alters the music are the lyrics. Some people go, that sounds like blues. You can't play that blues music in church. It didn't have no blues words. It wasn't blues music because it's the same notes. Stay with me, church people. Scoot your seat up and stay alive. Come on, come on. It's amazing. It's amazing how even the Word of God gives us a moment where people are reminded that you need a song. You need a song wherever you go. You don't want to leave your song behind. They said to these people, come on, sing a song for us. In forced labor, enslavement, they had a song. At first, they had a psychology and a response that anybody could understand. They said, how can we sing in a strange land? But sometimes you need to be able to sing in a strange land so you are not environmentally so incredibly impacted that you don't forget your land. You need to be able to sing in a strange land. You need to be able to keep your common song on foreign and distant soil. That just means out of your comfort zone, you need a song. When you're somewhere you're not used to, but it's on the way to where you're going to, you need a song so you can get there. If you don't have your song, you might decide to turn around and go back with what you know. And when you go with what you know, you go where you were before. And where you were before is where you left from, going where you were going. So you don't want to go with what you know because that's back. What you don't know is what's ahead of you. Thank God that somebody convinced them you need to have a song. You got to have a song. What's your song? If I could pass this mic around, everybody got a song, whether you can sing it or not. Now, I'm not going to pass you the mic to sing your song. This is not karaoke. I was going to pass it so you can tell me what your song was. So I don't want you to feel like you're about to be on the spot. I like that God is a music lover. From Miriam and Moses all the way to Paul and Silas, Old Testament to New for Bible readers, they had some singing going on. Miriam sang, and then Paul and Silas sang locked up in jail at midnight. There's always some singing going on wherever there is an understanding of deity and God and deeper inspiration, understanding that there are things we cannot touch, things we cannot see. And that is the message of the music. Because music is designed to touch our souls. Thank God for those upon whose shoulders we stand, who found music that gave them the ability to persevere, the strength to go on. They sang songs like, I think I'll just hold on so I can see what the end is going to be. Thank God for that kind of music. The music of history, the music that helped many of our ancestors persevere under duress, oppression, and stress. They sang songs like, since I can't get no help, swing low, sweet chariot. You remember, they had all of those wonderful songs in their music library. Well, I leave you here by saying today, my brothers and my sisters, I thank God for music. I thank him for giving me a song. I'm glad I didn't have to live without a song in my heart. I thank him for music, but I thank him for an awesome singer. For let me deviate a moment. I don't know where I would be today if I had not heard Never Grow Old. I do not know what I would do if I hadn't heard there is a land on a faraway strand, a homeland for the soul, where we will never grow. I was inspired by Never Grow, but I can't fool you today. That wasn't the only Aretha song in my archives. She ain't the only. Did you hear what I'm saying? Let me be honest and forthright with you. I've got some other Aretha music in my library. Did you hear me? I thank her today for some good music. Music that made people stand up for their rights. Music that moved NOW movement. Music that made women stand up. Music that fueled the feminist movement. R-E-S-P-C-T. All I want is a little respect. is just a little respect. Yeah, Lord, I thank God I didn't have to live without an Aretha song. I thank her teaching me to be thoughtful. So every time I leave home these days, ever since I've been married, Aretha taught me to say, call me the moment I get there. She taught me to be thoughtful in my family. And then she taught me, if I want to do right, woman, I got to be a do-right man. Thank you, Aretha. Thank you, Aretha, for some awesome music. Thank you, Aretha. Oh, yeah. Good God Almighty. Is there anybody here who's ever had to sit by the bedside of a loved one who's in trouble? Is there anybody here who's had to comfort somebody in the depth of their grief? Don't you remember saying, oh, Mary, oh, don't weep, Martha, don't moan, it'll be all right, it'll be all right, be all right, be all right, be all right, be all right. Without a song, I can't make it. Without a song, I've got a song, you've got a song, all of God's children got a song. Have you got a song? Some sister in the house found her liberation and her emancipation, and so she stood up one day and said, you make me feel like a natural woman. Oh! Oh!